Hi everyone, this is our channel, Around My Story. Please like, share and subscribe.
Beauty has myriad aspects. Some girls have a beautiful exterior, but with an ugly personality on the inside. Some are ugly on the outside, but have a beautiful personality. Some are average on the outside, but inside are very educated and elegant in behavior. This is where the idea of the Miss World contest originally came from. The girl who has the most aspects of beauty overall should be able the title. But what if a girl is beautiful in every way except for the external beauty that is valued above all other aspects? Does she really stand a chance at all? My name is Naomi, and I am 16 years old. I live with my mom and two sisters. I am the middle daughter. My dad died a long time ago in a horrible train accident, leaving mom to raise us alone. So she taught us to be independent, to trust in ourselves, and to determine our own paths in life. We excelled at school and had plenty of friends. But life didn't give us everything. There is always a blemish on anyone's life. For me, it was beauty. I was boringly plain looking. No one wanted to date me. But I was okay with that because I knew that most boys were idiots, concerned only about a pretty face, even if that pretty face belonged to an empty-headed dimwit. Our school held an annual beauty contest based solely on external beauty, so I figured that it was time to change the rules of the game. I went to the teacher responsible for organizing this contest and suggested that this year's contest be a multifaceted beauty contest. I explained about considering internal aspects of beauty, such as maturity, responsibility, social interactions, academic performance, environmental awareness, character, personality, talent, hobbies, aspirations, etc. The teacher smiled and told me that she didn't have the control in this matter, but said she would speak with the principal. She asked for 2 days to try to persuade him. The 2 days crawled by at a snail's pace, but I was rewarded by my new rules adopted for this year's beauty contest. It would focus on both the inner and outer aspects of beauty. The student body was divided on the issue. My group cheered the new rules, but Emily's group hated it. Emily had won the school's beauty contest for the previous 2 years. She was as beautiful as a Walt Disney princess. Long blonde hair, lovely soothing voice, green eyes, elegant posture, but snobbish, vapid, shallow, narrow-minded. She testily asked the air, "Whose idea were these stupid new rules?" "Mine," I answered simply. She glared at me and told me that the old rules had been the standing rules for eons and couldn't be changed. But I corrected her by telling her that everything changes. She dismissed me with a wave of her hand by telling me that it didn't matter, that she was a shoo-in to win anyway, regardless of any stupid rule changes. I read the flyer about the contest and the new rules. One facet to be evaluated was how well a student contributed to the school's goals of fostering kindness and learning. Another facet was one's talent and hobbies like poetry, drawing, acting, or singing. Another was general knowledge of the world. And yet another was about etiquette, politeness, and manners. I put my plan into motion to win this contest from vain, brainless Emily. Still, she seemed so confident that I felt like I had no real chance of actually beating her. The contest, which would span several days, began. The first phase of the competition was on the social aspects of beauty. Emily chose to woo the students by distributing roses and chocolates to them. In addition, she flirted with the more popular boys to get them and their friends to like her. Other contestants distributed different things to students. I needed to do something distinctive and unexpected, something genuinely useful. So I summarized the semester's school subjects for the students so they could study more easily and efficiently for their final exams. I also asked Mom to prepare healthy lunches for them. My ideas were well received. The next phase was general knowledge. The judges paired everyone with a rival. The winners of those pairs would then be paired repeatedly until only one winner emerged by elimination. I was paired with Emily. Favoring her external beauty, the judges asked her easy questions. Me, I got the challenging questions. But despite this biased treatment, I answered all the questions correctly. The next part was about artistic talent. Emily was an excellent actress. Imagine that. She portrayed a stage scene and won well-deserved praise for her performance. My talent was drawing. I drew an intricate drawing and recited a poem. My heart was pounding during my poem recital, but I managed to receive vigorous applause. Emily was staring daggers at me. If looks could kill, my death would have eliminated me from the contest at that very moment. The next phase of the contest focused on costumes. I told Mom that I didn't see how I could possibly be Emily, but she continued to encourage me and believe in me. Her words inspired me. When I woke up that day, I was surprised by a new dress in my closet. It was so stylish and fit my form perfectly. It made me look like Cinderella. I wore it and went to the school. All the girls were beautifully dressed, as was I'm happy to say. I did well in this phase. The final phase would be judged on external beauty. The judging began, and all the contestants were so beautifully made up, with expensive hairdos and elegant sparkly dresses, that my spirit plummeted as my chances of winning seemed almost nil. Then suddenly, I had a crazy idea. I whispered in Mom's ear and went into the restroom. When they called my name, I walked up onto the stage in clean, neat, everyday school clothes, with no makeup and no fancy hairdo. Just plain old me. I asked the judges for permission to speak, and they allowed it. Directing my speech to the students present, I explained that my external appearance was not what true beauty was about. Yes, I could dress up and smile for one day to impress the judges, but what about the other days of the year? People's outward appearance should be respectful, decent, and proper all the time. When I finished my speech, it was met with enthusiastic applause, even by the judges. Now it was time to announce the overall winner of the contest. As is typical, they announced the third place winner, then the second place winner. I hadn't heard my name yet and was sure that Emily's name was about to be announced for first place. When I heard my name announced for first place, I screamed with joy. I couldn't believe it. Everyone was cheering for me, and Mom was looking so proud. After the contest was over, a shy but well-mannered and well-behaved boy came over and asked me for a date. I turned toward Emily and smiled sweetly. She didn't return my smile. Well, long story short, a plain Jane, me, won the overall contest and proved that even an ugly duckling can be loved for its inner beauty.
Surrounded by many of her friends and neighbors, I leaned in close to her and whispered, "Hi, Mom. This is Carlos. I came to see how you are doing. Drug dealing, weapons dealing, kidnapping, theft, you name it, and I've done it. I am not particularly proud of this lifestyle, but hey, it's a living. My twin brother, Virgil, on the other hand, chose the other side of the law. He was a police officer, and he always worked the night shift. I tried many times to get him to come over to the dark side, so to speak. I told him he could make his whole year's salary in a matter of hours, but he always refused. He would say that he couldn't take blood money. Mom agreed with his honest, legitimate lifestyle, so I eventually left home to do my own thing. I lost track of Mom and Virgil for years, until a friend informed me one day that my brother had been arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison. This incredible event had happened just a few hours after our most recent burglary. My friend also told me that the news said that my mom was terribly ill. It turned out that Virgil had been arrested trying to steal some expensive medicine to save her life. I became livid. I rushed to Mom's house to find her on her deathbed, surrounded by many of her friends and neighbors. I leaned in close to her and whispered, "Hi, Mom. This is Carlos. I came to see how you were doing." She opened her eyes and smiled, but she looked so sad and wistful. She said, "Please, try to see your brother one last time before he goes to prison." I asked her to forgive me and promised her that I would do so. Then I concocted a crazy plan. I dressed as a policeman, forged a visitation permit, and tricked the police station holding my brother into letting me visit him in an interrogation room. While I was questioning Virgil under the watchful eye of officers on the other side of the interrogation room's one-way mirror, I surreptitiously dialed a number on my cell phone and whispered into it, "Go." At that moment, the power and lights went out throughout the police station. I explained my plan and rationale to my brother and persuaded him to change clothes with me. Virgil left in my stead and once again lived as a free man on the outside while I went to prison in his place. I did this to put myself right in my mom's eyes. I think she'd be proud of me. Virgil, I'll see you in 10 years, brother.
Hello everyone, I'm Lauren. Did you ever wonder what it would be like to have your life completely destroyed by someone close to you? Ever thought about what you would do then? I didn't have time to think, because that's exactly what happened to me. It all started 2 years ago. I lived a quiet life with my mom and dad and my sister. I loved my family. We were always together. We were happy until that fateful day. My dad got fired from his work, a big company. He had worked there for 20 years. The only money we had then was what he had managed to save over the years. Finding a new job wasn't easy. It was a hard time for all of us, especially my dad. He was becoming desperate. At times, he just sat there, quietly, deep in thought, and I rarely saw him smile since. One late night, we were still up waiting for him when he walked through the door. But something was different. He wasn't walking straight. It was the first time in my life seeing him drunk. I decided to take matters in my own hand. I started job hunting. I was lucky enough to find something suitable at a startup company. The pay was good enough, and the more I worked, the more I earned. I was trying my best to get our life back. I was giving it all I've got. My dad started asking me for money. I was more than happy to give him what he needed. I didn't even ask what it was for. Then he started asking for more. He came late almost every night, and he was never awake in the morning. It seemed like we hadn't talked together for ages. Then, money started disappearing from my purse. I got home from work one night. It had been a long day, and I was really tired. I put my bag in my room, and I went to the kitchen to find something to eat. I made myself a sandwich, then took it back to my room. But when I got to the door, I saw a shadow moving inside. I thought everyone was asleep, so I opened the door slightly and looked inside. I couldn't believe what I saw. My dad was standing over my bag, and my wallet was in his hand. He found no money in it, so he threw it on the bed and started going through my purse. At that moment, my mom came down the stairs. She had my dad's shirt in her hands and a small pack of white powder. I looked at her face. Her eyes were filled with tears. I tried to speak, but found nothing to say. My dad came out of my room. He saw us standing there. He tore the shirt and the pack from my mom's hands. He was hysterical. He started breaking things around him. Suddenly, everything changed. My mom and I were too scared to move, but then my sister came running down the stairs. He pulled her towards him and held a knife to her throat. He threatened to kill her if we didn't give him money. Without a moment's thought, I did what he asked. Things only got worse. Nothing was ever enough. He asked for more and more money, and if I refused, he'd get violent, beating up anyone in his path. I couldn't stand by and watch. so I would just give him what he wanted, until I decided enough was enough. He barged down the stairs one evening and asked for all the money I've got. I told him we had expenses to pay, the rent, school fees, but none of it mattered to him. He asked me again for the money and threatened me if I didn't do what he asked. I refused. He hit me so hard that I crashed my head against the wall and fell to the floor, bleeding. Everything went dark. My mom took me to different hospitals, and I had to do a lot of checkups and tests, but all the doctors said the same thing, that this was it. I was sentenced to live my life in darkness, never to see the light again. Bumping my head against the wall was one of the reasons, but apparently my psychological state played a huge role in my recovery. The doctors suggested that I'd be taken to a psychiatrist. My dad felt sorry for what he had done to me. He quit the drugs and alcohol, tried to be proper, but it was because of him that I was in this state. I didn't know if I could ever find it in myself to forgive him. I was torn inside. He was my dad, but I couldn't forget what had happened. I stopped talking shortly after, and he left, disappearing from our lives. No one knew where he was, or what he was. A year had passed, and he came home. He sounded good, kind of like how he was before. He's trying to make up for what he had done. But to me, nothing he does makes a difference anymore. Kind of like how he was before. He's trying to make up for what he had done. But to me, nothing he does makes a difference anymore. I'm still in the dark. That's something I'm gonna have to live with my whole life. I can't change that. What do you think I should do?